Crazy Camp Life, votes, and tribals. The life of a survivor is more than you see on TV. So if you need the scoop on island survival, crack a coconut, put on some rice, and let's spill the immunity. Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Man, we're in the off season. I can feel it. We're all just craving. We're like, withdrawals have set in. We are missing the seasons of Survivor. We're excited for the new one. But there's been a lot to chew on lately. A lot of tea is being spilled. A lot of things going on in the Survivor world with our favorites from the past. So we have a lot to talk about today. I'm excited for today. We have a big show. We have a lot of things planned. How are you guys faring in this off-season weather?
Go ahead, Alex. I talk a lot, but
I'm doing okay. I'm hanging in there. I feel like I'm on the Survivor. I feel like I'm on Exile Island right now, right? No Survivor, but I got my friends, I guess. So you guys are, I guess we're back at camp, right? So yeah, you came with me to Exile Island. So, but I'm like getting geared up because we have Survivor 46, we have Australian Survivor, and then we're going to talk about this later, Deal or No Deal Island. What the heck with Boston Rob? So we're going to talk about that later. But like all three of them are premiering around the same time, so I think we might need a little break because we're going to have a lot to discuss come February.
Poker Chip Beach is going to be a one and done season. It's going to be great to watch Rob again, but that's a one and done if I ever seen one. Bree, just that video that you keep on showing us of the beach and the sun and the clouds. I mean, it's 5 degrees here in Indiana. So I just miss seeing a beach and seeing great weather. So thank you for that.
I'm with you on that, man. It is cold. We have a high of 4 degrees coming in tomorrow. So we are freezing. A nice beach sounds good to me. Even if all I get is rice, I'm okay with that. I eat a lot of rice anyway, so I'm kind of used to it. Good morning, Bobby. I'm glad you're tuning in. We appreciate you always hopping in and being here and saying good morning. And so back at you. I love what you said, Alex, about Exile Island. It's funny because we're going to talk about some different facts today. And one of the things I did was I went back and watched a little bit of season 40 because I wanted to feel the dynamic with all the winners. Here is what is on top of my mind right now. I am missing is that gameplay at such a high level that we saw when we had all of the winners on season 40, just the way they can analyze the game. And I sat there and I was watching and I thought to myself, what would I be doing if I was, playing with a bunch of people on Survivor? How would I keep track of everything? And I'm like, I literally have to do like the whole thing in the sand and be like, what's this person's angle? But I would definitely want to be focusing on what is everyone's angle? What is everyone's way to the end, and seeing how that fits into my game, and really be like situation awareness. I'll say it a million times. Is looking across the board at everyone's angle, because I was watching these winners play, and it was Michelle and Nick and Ben and Sarah and Tony and Denise, and I'm thinking to myself, they still aren't seeing certain things, and I think they're things that were presented to them, not the confessionals, the off-camera stuff, but I noticed it, and I'm like, you really have to pay attention. What is their way to the end, and how can you shift things with the way you're playing to kind of manipulate the way people are in there. And so that was really like, and I liked Exile because Natalie was on Exile. She's like, I've been here so long, I know exactly where everything is, and I'm gonna crush it. And she was such an amazing player as well. So that's why Exile brought that to mind, because I was like, what a great cast they had on there. And do you think some of the people in 45 had that ability? Did you see any of that where like you think any of those really, if they played a little bit better of a game? I think we had a few in there that got to see the whole picture.
Well, I would say Drew was a standout from an intellectual player side of things. He didn't see the well, I guess he did, and he trusted Austin. So I would think Drew would maybe be the best. Or you obviously have Emily and Caleb too, right? So, yeah, I mean, I don't really know what maybe exactly what you're getting at there, Bree, with that, but
sure. Sorry, I stumped you. The question wasn't really clear. I apologize. No, it's just that I see these players that really understand how the game goes together and how, because I heard Michelle talking about and Jeremy talking about this, this is the way, this isn't my way to the end. And I need this player in here. And this player is going to be this shield. And I'm going to go in this direction and I can do this. And so they're really strategic in how they're playing things. And I think that's what I really want to see in these new era seasons is all of these really strategic moves. So I wasn't seeing it as much from in the last few seasons, though I do agree with you. I think Drew was that strategic player. And I think Emily could have been that strategic player, but she got caught up with some of the emotions of it that I don't think she was expecting.
Go ahead,
Brandon.
I'm trying to think.
Well,
you go ahead. I want you to go.
We're having a rough time today. Yeah.
We are. I'm stopping you with questions. Who the hell's talking next?
We're stuck on exile. We're stuck on exile. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Dee said that kind of at the end of the game. She attributed her win. She's like, listen, I was really lucky. I got on Reba 4, right? And I think she read the situation right. She got in with Austin. She eliminated Dee. She played a great game. And it's been said after, like, she played a really, really great game, really saw the game, knew she had to move. So I actually think Dee probably did the best job of reading it. Could she have done that from a different position on a different tribe? Who's to say, who's to know? Was she a super strategic player? Or do you take her word that she attributes most of her winning to luck? So I thought she did have a good view of the game and like the Julie vote, right? Austin didn't do that. Drew didn't want to do, well, I guess Drew tried to do that and he couldn't. So I guess Drew maybe be in that category too. But yeah, I would have to watch 40 again. That's not one we've gotten to yet. So.
And with returners coming back, I mean, that's the perk they get, right? As they've played this game before. Hopefully they've learned from their mistakes. They have a past to dwell on. And I think even as a fellow viewer of that show, it's easy for us to already have a narrative in our heads and see if those narratives play out compared to not knowing what the narrative is at the beginning of a fresh season and then being like, okay, now I have to create this narrative and see where they're trying to take me. I think with a Winners at War season or a Blood versus Water or a Heroes versus Villains, where there's a lot of returns, I think that's part of it, is that you already have a huge built up narrative to where you can see the moves a little bit more clear because you know who and what these people do during the game. So I don't know if I think there's still, and because I think of D too, I think D taking the Saifu vote and like screwing him over or something like that early on, and then kind of manipulating that to make it seem like someone else voted him and then causing controversy. So I think there were a couple players at the very beginning of the game that were playing a pretty headstrong game. This season 45 was kind of, it was ill fade. It was not a good thing that they had so many quitters at the beginning. And I think that's what really made this season a little bit lackluster, but I can't think of a single newbie season where it wasn't until like episode 3 or 4 that I was like, okay, I'm going to like this season or I'm going to not like this season.
That's true.
But that's a really good point, Brandon. It's like you saw this when Russell Hantz came back for the third time, because the second time he came back to back, so they didn't know his game. Right. But the third time he came back, everybody had them pegged. They're like, oh, this is his game. And so they could anticipate, and then they eliminated him very quickly. Yeah. So yeah, you're totally right about that. Winners at War, you already understand everybody's game. And so you can future pace and anticipate behavior and say, oh, this is what they did. Are they going to do it this time? Well, like Emily, right? They're kind of victims of their own devices or their own selves. So they can't help themselves, right?
And so that's why Russell got, does Russell go as far as he did in his second season if everybody had watched what he had done, which they weren't had the ability to, because that season was shot back to back. And so no one knew the game that Russell was going to play. So I don't think he goes nearly as far if they would have spent 5 seconds on the season he played previously.
Yeah, I have to agree. So I love that we talked, and that you guys mentioned a little bit about Drew. And one of the questions that we saw in the Tribe has Spoken, I wanted to bring it up. I thought it was interesting. It's not really controversial, but there were so many different answers in the chats that I wanted to bring it on here. And the question is, if the final three were Drew, Austin, and Jake, who would you have voted for to win?
Drew, Austin, and Jake. Has there been a time where there was three guys at the end? Drew, Austin, Jake.
Oh, I'm sure. It's hard. I mean, I think it'd be between Austin and Drew, obviously. I think I feel like I would have given it to Drew because I value the intellectual, nerdy archetype on Survivor. Like, that's my favorite archetype, is the nerd who gets to the end, despite his quirky demeanor. I like that archetype in the end. So I might be swayed just by that and the underdog story. Austin, he's, even though he was maybe an underdog earlier in his life, he's this good looking, buff guy, good at challenges, good at a lot of different things. But I think if you consider everything that Austin did, consider challenge wins, consider, all that different stuff. And if you voted off D, I mean, because that's with that end, D's voted off. And I could think it would depend on who voted D off, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it was Austin, if he said, I don't care about D, like she did it.
Go
right?
play with Wendell. We don't want to see you right now.
We're holding our tongue. So I'm sure we all wish Austin would have done that. Now, obviously, because he's such a nice guy. But yeah, it'd be hard. It would be hard. I would be conflicted for sure, but definitely not Jake. Because you got no votes at Final Tribal, so you definitely wouldn't have won.
Who would you have voted for, Alex?
Not who Final Tribal?
Yeah, who would you have voted for?
I would have voted for D.
Okay.
I liked her a lot at the beginning because I picked her and I said, oh, she's gonna win. But over time, I didn't really like her gameplay. I don't like how she played Austin. It is what it is. She won $1 million. Is it my favorite game ever? No. And like I said at the beginning, I think luck did play a lot into it. I think she's a really strong player, above average in all categories, as I said before. But but no, not like. But I'm the jury member. I'm the type of jury member who I would vote for somebody whose game I respect.
Right.
Probably more than if I just like them personally.
Right.
Like if Austin,
between Drew and Jake, though.
That's what I meant. Yeah. Over the three guys, who would you have voted for?
Oh, I said probably Drew, but it depends on the D vote. It depends on who voted out D and who voted out Julie, which it looked like that was probably going to be Drew's machinations to do that. So I probably would have voted for Drew because he was really the mastermind behind it. Unless Austin was the one who said, "Oh, we should vote off D. I don't care. Like, she ain't nothing to me." And then I'd be like, "Oh, yeah, just joking."
I love it.
What about you, Brandon? What do you think?
I think I would have said it all depends. I think if Jake was the one that somehow won immunity and got D out, then that does kind of give Jake a little bit of, okay, can he take down the mighty four, the core four there? But I would say just based on the games that we knew about, I was a huge Austin fan to begin with. I think that he always held a little bit more of an advantage over Drew because of his relationship with D and maybe even with Julie a little bit more. So I would have said, I would say Austin would win that.
Yeah.
Well, you think about Drew too. He kind of burned the bridge with Jake. He's like, you're a goon. And so he wasn't super close with people. Maybe he has a good strategic mind, but his social gameplay, he wasn't really ingratiated with a lot of.
However, that's what I was going to say. I think Austin made more friends and had a better relationship with people. So I probably would have voted for Austin only because I liked his attitude overall. I think the little temper tantrums that Drew had really turned me off completely on his, just I didn't get my way and I'm smarter than that. And this is how dare you go? I don't know. I didn't like that about him. And I think that probably rubs off. I think we saw little bits of it, but I'm sure it was there probably a little bit more than was on camera. And I agree that we have to see who got rid of D. I think that seeing how D has totally played Austin, and I'm talking about played him in many different ways now, it's easier to see that was her game plan all along. She said, and I mentioned this a couple times to my friends and stuff, but that she said, and she said it to Austin, I never came on the show to have a romance. I didn't want a showmance. My friends said no show. I mean, I'm not going to do a showmance. And like, she's basically telling him, I'm not having a showmance.
Yeah. And then there was that time on the beach when they were holding hands or whatever, and he's sitting there trying to talk about marriage. And she says, oh, and she didn't say this, but she's like, oh, I like cheese waffles. Like, it was completely not on the same page as he was when they're talking about their romantic conversations. So
hindsight's 2020, but now that we see her behavior after the show, I'm going to keep skipping over exactly what that was all about. But if you see her behavior now, and after the whole, the show, that everything's aired out and she's meeting new people and now she's a winner and all of these things, I'm not saying that that was her plan, but I am saying that it makes it pretty crystal clear that she played him the whole time. Like, there was, and I feel bad for Austin for that. Like, he got suckered into that, and he really, really believed in the Amber Rob romance and wanted that for himself.
He said that was his favorite season.
Yes, like
oh, it was Kent after it.
My heart is breaking right now.
he was
well,
like,
I can't
that reel and no bites at the end. Yeah,
personal life, we would just keep it Survivor, right? Like, I can in some ways, respect D playing, because and when you're on an island with people, sleeping next to people, feelings come up. You do develop these relationships, and then you go back home and life happens and you realize, it's the summer camp thing, right? Where you find your love at summer camp, you have your first kiss and you think this is magical, and they go back home and you go back home and things fall apart, right? And I can understand being in that situation, two young, good-looking people, stuff happens and you think, oh, what do we do now? Especially when you're in so deep. So D may have let him on, and then he kind of puppy dawed, and then, what does she do now? Break his heart on Survivor, and then he hates her, so as much as it may be an unsavory thing and we don't like people playing with people's hearts, it is Survivor, and there's other people who play much more vicious games, with people's emotions, or like Julie, or these people who, they really engage. Maybe it's not a romantic type of love, but there is a relationship that is built there.
Yep.
That hurts people.
And I've had to go back and watch this, but I don't think she vocally said anything to lie to him about how she felt. I think she pretty much kept it pretty like her cards to her chest and didn't talk about the marriage vows in the future and different things like that. And she was even, I don't even know if she really knew what this was, because when he picked her for the helicopter ride, I think she was even surprised that he did that. And she definitely wasn't going to, reciprocate that, I don't think, because I think she was in full-fledged game mode the whole entire time.
Would you say calculated is a good word for her?
Calculated. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Which is why she won.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
All right, I want to move us along. Alex, I have to give you credit for this, but you discovered a whole bunch of really fun facts. So I'm going to let you take this portion of the show and kind of run us through some of the fun facts about Survivor that you might want to know.
Okay, well, I'm always interested in like the Easter eggs and the little known facts and the, behind the scenes look into what's really happening on Survivor. Like, do they get, contacts or something, so here's some facts. We can't attest to the accuracy of these, but they're pretty reputable. We'll say that. Okay. I'm not, can't say for sure, but one of the facts is they say, we talked to Nina on the show. If you haven't watched that episode, we actually had one of the survivors, Sandra, two-time winner's daughter, on, who was also on Survivor Australia twice. She said that they don't give you bug spray or sunscreen or anything. Apparently, though, from this source, they said, maybe this is new season or not as extreme as Australia. They said they do give them sunscreen, a vitamin every day. They give them feminine products and contact lenses, which would make sense because I feel like everybody would be wearing glasses.
I can attest to that. I know that to be true.
Yeah.
Nina has actually talked about that with me, and they do.
Okay.
Yep. And that's just because there are certain things, obviously, especially with women being there, that you have to give them. But yes, they do. And if they have any medications that they have to take. So the production does come in every day and give them the things that they need. So that is a very true fact.
Well, Karishma, who we know, who we love, maybe, she said she actually got a really horrible infection following the show. I won't say what type of infection. She got a really bad infection, was like in the hospital. But she said that they also give all of the contestants an extra pair of clothes, or like they have an identical matching set of their clothes that they can exchange out. So that was kind of an interesting thing. And this was another thing too. They also give you another pair of underwear, which I've always thought about, right? It's like, interesting. These kind of girls.
Except for Philip.
Philip, yeah.
He never got another pair.
He never asked. He never asked.
Really not.
He's like, why would I need another pair? These are perfectly fine.
Brandon's like, I don't want to go there.
Gosh, I'm a very visual person, Bree. That's going to be on.
He'll give you an eyeful. That was very true. I mean, it was on the air. We saw it, man.
Oh, what's next fact we have? What's the next fact?
Okay,
moving on.
Next fact. There have been 17 female winners and 25 male winners. Interesting, small little fact. Here's an interesting fact. 8 tribe names have repeating names. Mogo Mogo, Puka Puka, Bula Bula, Foa Foa,
Lulu.
Maku Maku, Lulu. No, well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, Lulu.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's 9. Maku Maku. So this is maybe an old article. Okay. What else? Black is the most common color for merged tribes. I think we all knew that.
Yep.
Yellow is the most common color for starting tribes. Interesting.
Dirty the easiest. I wonder if they're really in it for like let's make it look like they're getting dirty out there. Give them yellow.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
What else? Interesting fact. Jeff Probst. I'm sure a lot of people know this, but Jeff Probst and Phil from The Amazing Race, they were actually interviewing for the same job. So we could have had Phil, which would be, I don't know. What do you guys think of Phil from Amazing Race doing Survivor?
No, I like Amazing Race is where he should be. That's that voice that makes him sound a little bit more international. That's where they were in the right places.
Good casting on that, because they put him in the right spot. I think you need Jeff's. He's just, you got to have that. You got to have, I mean, he's as much part of why the show is the show that I think anything else, the great cast and stuff. You got to have Jeff holding it down.
How about Julie Chen as the next Survivor host? Can you guys imagine that?
No.
Turn her high heels and no.
And looking fabulous all the time. They always have to say how fabulous she looks when they go in to cast their votes. Julie looked fabulous tonight.
Wear Jeff's clothes, like have the big oversized pants like he used to wear, an oversized shirt.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, Bree, you have maybe an insider's look onto these things. I'd be curious to hear, there's definitely some other drama or other Easter eggs or hidden things behind the scenes, but it's not super public because they make the survivors sign up, probably a very extensive contract,
very many pages. Yes.
Very many pages.
Yes.
Yeah. So any insight into the contract or what they're definitely not allowed to say, or what maybe the consequences would be if they did ever say anything?
Well, yeah. So if they say they lose, they don't get any money, obviously, but they can get sued. So it is in the contract that they'll be, they can be sued for quite a bit of money because the damages from that. So if they were to leak information, the damages are quite severe to CBS and Survivor because, you've taken away that surprise. There's, of course, people that put stuff out there that are anonymous and you never know if it's really true. You can go on Reddit if you really want to and find a lot of stuff. But yeah, there's some serious things in there. There's also some really peculiar things in there. So they're very restrictive about like writing a book about Survivor, about the show. Having a website with your name on it. They actually buy those for the it's really randomly weird stuff. So that like they have more control, I think, after they're done playing. They're very strict about what they can and can't do, current players when they're under contract, on what they're able to do and what they're not able to do in the media or anything like that. So they really, they have a lot of things they have to fulfill. They have a lot of appearances they have to make. They have a lot of things that are required of them from this contract. But yeah, there's just those like random things. I thought that the book thing, I get, like, they don't want to tell all, I guess, is really what they're trying to say. I did read some stuff, and it's one of the facts that I really liked, but I'm going to let Brandon get into the facts that he liked first. But I thought it was interesting that Sarah found out that Tony was a cop from producers. So
Really?
we'll get into that a little bit later. But Brandon, I want you to go ahead, lay some facts on me that you really liked.
You know what? I'm actually making my own fact right now. It sounds like I'm lying about this, but I meant it in a completely different way. So I did the research just now on us talking about the Austin, Jake, and Drew thing, how they're all three males, and has that ever happened? Well, in the final three, it only happened one time, and it was in Nicaragua with Fabio. So that was interesting to me. And then I looked back some more to see, has it happened in final twos? And it's only happened 4 other times, which I guess back then was a lot, because I think there was only like maybe 22 seasons or something where there was final twos or something. And it was Tocantins with JT and Fishback, Kagian with Tony and Wu, and then Thailand with Clay and Brian, and then of course Nicaragua. So it's 4 times in the history of 52 episodes, 52 seasons, or where we at 46,
45 seasons, yeah.
Whereas it was guys at the end. I'm doing the math right now on the ladies to see who has the upper hand, but that's my fact.
Seasons in and watch the Fabio win, and that one, really surprised me. You know, the Fabio win, and then him. I mean, that was like a big shocker. I didn't see that coming. It's so funny. I've been rewatching the old Survivor seasons with my girlfriend, who didn't grow up watching them and hasn't seen every single season. And I watched them back when I was growing up, right? Like live when they'd aired, and I hadn't gone back and watched them all. And I'd watch these seasons. I'd be so confident that this person would win because I'd have this vague memory. And then it'd be up to the last episode. I'd be watching all the, seasons like, oh, this person's going to win. And then at the final tribal council, they don't win. I'm like, what?
Hold up.
I was like, my memory is horrible.
Is there somebody that you do that to more than anybody else? Because for me, it's Amber, or not Amber. What was her name? Or was it Amber? Kim. No. She was with Parvati. Amanda. I thought Amanda has won this thing already, and she hasn't. So I'm wondering, is there a Survivor where you're just like, they're a winner in your eyes, but they're actually a loser?
I'll have to look at that. Here, give us another fact, and I'll because I've been rewatching them. I'll find the one that is like really surprised me. I usually get faked out with Tyson, because I know Tyson does eventually get there. I think.
Yep, he does. Second.
So I've been watching some of his seasons. I'm like, when does he get to the end? And I guess it's far way off. So.
I guess my only thing right now, because I'm not looking at the list, I'm still doing my research on the ladies and see which is the power gender here. But I would have to say I just watched another podcast, and they were talking about how much CBS actually does have a lot of say over Jeff in some situations when it comes to casting and when it comes to just different things they throw on that show.
Yeah. And I think he's gotten obviously more control now than he did in the first 20 seasons, maybe, or so. I thought it was really interesting that, that he wasn't the host of the live reunions and things like that.
Rosie O'Donnell was at one time.
Yeah. And then a sports guy, was it Bob?
Clark Kellogg.
Okay, because I was like, there's just like, it just was random. And then now that Jeff does it, and now we don't even have it, which really pisses me off. So, I mean, it's just on the island right afterwards, and they're all in the moment. I want to see them coming back together. I really, like, if any season we wanted to see a live reunion, would have been this season because of the Dee and Austin situation, right? We'd want to see, like, they're like them talking. I haven't seen that much of Austin talking, of him actually being out, like doing a lot of interviews and things like that. He's done a little bit, but like you see Dee out there and she's kind of skirting it now. And I kind of would love to have seen that moment when Jeff, would have said, so Dee.
Yeah, Jeff was tough. Jeff was tough at the final. I mean, he would hit you with like, the rumor mill, the thing that was like, big on social media. He would just be like, they're saying you didn't deserve to be there. I mean, he would dig into people at the reunion shows, which was great because those were the questions that the audience was wanting to address.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
And I
always
think
love that about
Austin
Jeff.
would have responded differently because it would have been after the show and they would have had that pause, right? That break between when filming ended and when the show, you know.
And then imagine the audience like, boo
right?
for D.
Exactly.
And I wonder if that was the reason because it got too live.
Well, I think why they stopped doing the reunion is they stopped reading the votes in America. Right. And so
they did it because of COVID. So, you know, when COVID hit and everything shut down, they all of a sudden hadn't read the votes and they weren't able to get everybody together. He did it out of his own garage and CBS shipped him all the equipment, which he had to set up on his own with maybe his neighbor or whoever he had around him, one guy or something. And so it was just it was such a letdown. Jeff lives for that stuff, right? Yeah. And it was so horrible. He's like, never again. I'm never going to allow this to happen. We never know when something's going to hit again. I'm not going to take that chance if we do it live in the moment, right after it's done, and we read the votes. And I like reading the votes at right away after they're cast. I do like that part, but I definitely want that reunion. So my opinion is if you can still have some sort of a reunion, if there's no pandemic happening, you should still do that. I have it, do the best of right after when you're on location, and then give us that, bring them on live, give them the SIA award, give them the, do some of this stuff so we can see, because that's when we would have seen Austin. Now that he's got distance and time to think it all through and how he got played, would have been a whole different ball game and interaction. And we would have had some, it's the stuff that people want.
Their perception of the game too is so, singular focus because they can only see their game in the time that they're playing it, and then what they hear maybe from Ponderosa. And so having the contestants watch the edit, how they're presented, all the different things that they weren't privy to, that's important for the process, for them to process, to contextualize their own game.
Yep.
Is to have all the information and to have the edit and to understand all the things that were happening, behind the scenes to them. So you miss out a lot on that. And then you got to watch all these podcasts, right? Interviewing them after the fact.
Listen to us now.
You got to use us. I wanted to get into the Sarah thing. So Sarah found out about, there's my dog. Sarah found out about Tony from production. It's pretty well known. It's not a lot of tea, but Cops Are Us was the most successful alliance thus far that we've ever seen, even though I think Reba for the core four is it's got to be right up there, but they did it consistently over 3 seasons. So I really like that. But Tony would not tell her that he was a cop, but she knew. She's like, I know he's a cop. And it was actually the reaction from production when she's like, I know he's a cop. Wow. That led her in on, while they were playing, in on the fact that he was a cop. So I thought that was really interesting. I did think their alliance was Tony's not my cup of tea. I liked Sarah. I actually did like Sarah. I think she was a great player. Tony was a great player. His Spy Shacks were definitely entertaining, but it produced 3 wins, right, for their alliance. So Sarah won once and Tony won twice because of the alliance together and how they voted for each other. So I just thought that was a really interesting fact. I don't know if Reba's going to rank up in there. We have to wait and see if any of them come back. I don't think it's strong enough. I mean, it was like a solid alliance from start to finish. So I give them credit for that. But Jake made it into the end and he wasn't part of that. So I don't know. Was it the best? We'll see. So that was one of the facts of, and the other one I want to talk about, which we'll discuss a little bit more at the very end, is the crossover players. And I love crossover players. I love players that get to go on and do other things because we fall in love with them on Survivor. We get to spend 39 or 26 days with them, and we get to see them on other shows. So the Traders is launching tomorrow. If you're a Sandra fan or a Parvati fan, you're going to want to tune in for that. It is on Peacock. They're dropping 3 episodes tomorrow. And then it'll be once a week after that. And I'm excited. I want to see how they do. But we've seen Cirie on Big Brother. We've seen Cirie win the Traders. We've seen a lot of people that have been on The Amazing Race. And we've seen some of those players come on to Survivor. Do you like seeing players like switch back and forth? Do you enjoy that they're on other shows that are different?
I like the Survivor players. The things that annoys me about the Traders is they got like the housewives on there. They got like the, and it turns into like a little bit more of like the reality TV, than because Survivor, even if you have this, Pris or whatever, right? At least they got to withstand the elements. They got to be kind of tough, right? I remember there was one player. There was a famous baseball player. I forgot his name. He was a big guy, and he was like notorious because he said some very
John
controversial.
Rocker. Yeah.
John Rocker, and he had his wife who kind of was that prissy type of, and she quit. Because he left, and I was like, okay, Survivor has a way of weeding those type of people out. On these other shows, when they're in a nice house and they probably have great meals. To me, it's not as enticing as Survivor. I do like watching the Survivor players. But the other ones, like even the Big Brother players, kind of sometimes fit into that category of these. They almost fall into like the social media influencer or like these kind of fame hungry type of people.
Yeah.
Which Survivor, I just feel it's more authentic, right?
Yeah. I watch them because they're Survivor players, and I think if the Survivor players go out early, it probably wouldn't keep my attention the rest of the show. If they stay in, I start to develop I love the concept of Traders. I think it has enough Survivor in that. And I think being only 2 seasons in the second season, it has potential to probably do better. I think it has allowed some people who are purists of Survivor, purists of Big Brother, and purists of Amazing Race, if they're such thing, to like
race purist.
Yeah, I haven't met them, but
it's my girlfriend.
Is she really?
She's out of all the shows, Amazing Race is her favorite.
Hers. Okay,
yeah.
I'll give that to her.
Yeah.
Well, I think that we what we like about them is at least the reality players, the ones that have been on things like Survivor, Amazing Race, even the Traders. You're living it the whole time, right? You're in there the whole time. You're doing all these things, and there can be challenges. If you have not seen Traders, they do some pretty incredible challenges that. One time they were buried alive and they had to get rescued. Like that would freak me out.
Yeah.
Another time, they're doing some things that are either gross or scary or look very dangerous. So they've got that they've survived something going through those things. And I think that's cool. But when you get people like the housewives, like, what did you survive? Shopping on Rodeo Drive? Like, really, what were you doing that put you in a position where you can, and maybe it's because they want to prove that they're that tough, but I think I always think that they're probably going to be some of the first ones out, though I do like Phaedra, and I'm excited to see her on.
And again, you have the right host for that show too. I think he's phenomenal. I don't know what his name is, but he's phenomenal. That's right cast.
Yeah. Well, with the challenge, because I grew up watching like Real World Road Rules, and then they turned it into Real World Road Rules Challenge, and now it's just Challenge or the Challenge. And they have super hard like marathon, like you got to run a 50-mile marathon with all these physical challenges, and so they do really be and then you contrast to American Survivor now, how I've been ragging on all the little baby challenges. So I think not being able to sleep on a bed at night is probably a little bit more difficult than like exercising a bunch during the day. But yeah, could we get maybe just like a medium ground in between the two where we get a little bit more challenging Survivor
We might have that.
Yeah,
that is a fantastic segue, I think.
It is a great segue, which I love. I want to talk about Rob Has an Island. We've got Deal or No Deal, the island version. What do we think about this one?
Where's Howie Mandel?
I
He's too much of
know,
a germaphobe
it's
to
too
be on.
icky.
Yeah, it's too icky. Yeah, that threw me for a Deal or No Deal. I mean, that was a big show back in the day. It was big for like 1 or 2 seasons maybe. But this is like Survivor. It seems to be almost exactly like Survivor with some more money opportunities, right? And then you sleep in a bed at night because like I think they wanted Boston Rob back, but he's like, I can't sleep on bamboo. Like I'm like 50 years old now. I got a big pot belly. I'm Boston Rob. I'm not sleeping on bamboo anymore. So they say, okay, what do we have to do? He said, I like that Deal or No Deal show. Why don't we do that? But just make it just like Survivor. Right. Yep. So I have no idea. This is the weird thing too. It's airing the same day as Survivor, the 28th. They're like both premiering on the same date. I'm like, why is Survivor creating an exact, almost replica of the show? They just extended it to an hour and a half. We got to watch like 2.5 hours of TV now of like the same. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think Amazing Race is premiering later than that. I would guess that they're going to stagger the premiere of Amazing Race, and they're looking for the people that love Boston Rob and love the whole island thing to fuel this show. So they're like, is it the lead in? Or I don't know how they're doing it, but I think that if they're putting them on the same night, like back to back, that they're hoping to grab all of the super fans of Survivor and get them. Here's your Boston Rob fix. Come join.
Right.
Come love the show. And so they're trying to piggyback off of that. They're it's a little goat kind of a action. Bring them to the end, bring them along because you want to get the votes and do. I don't know. We'll see.
I was thinking that Survivor might be a little bit too slow for this TikTok generation, so they have to implement like all these, a prize every episode. So
yeah. So it builds the pot, I guess. So every time they win a challenge and it goes into the pot, the only thing is you don't get eliminated through rant. It's very complicated. I don't know if we're going to be able to, if we'll really enjoy it.
If the show lasts for as long as we've been talking about it on this episode, I'm going to be surprised. I think that if you package this, they're going to sell it at Trader Joe's. It's so weird and complex, and I don't know. Well, I'll watch the first one. We'll see what happens after that.
I do feel like every episode, it's just going to be like new. There's not going to be a way to track it. It's just going to be twist after twist after, So.
It's to keep Rob on. How are we going to keep Rob on? Talk about
what if Boston Rob wins though? How cool would that be? I mean, if Boston Rob won again after they won, Amber won, he won. If he comes back and wins again, that would be a really fun thing to watch, to be honest, because he is one of the best, manipulative or controlling, strategic.
Is he going to have a buddy system?
Is there a view? He probably will. I think Boston Rob is good TV. I think that's the draw, right? Yeah. So you either hate him or you love him. And I think he is too manipulative sometimes, and he does rub people the wrong way. But I think he makes great TV. He's fun on camera. Yep. You're always going to be entertained when you're watching him, and that's the draw. Like that's what they want. They want viewers. They're going to put someone like him on the show to bring people in and get them excited, because we haven't had Boston Rob in a long time. Since 40, but that didn't go very well for him. So I think it'll be really interesting. I'm definitely going to watch it. I think we'll watch it. I think that their first episode will get a lot of viewers. Will the second episode? I don't know. That's where the proof is in the pudding, right? We'll see.
They flashed like $220 million are at stake. So they're like, it's like the biggest, how much will they actually win? Who's to say? But what was the show that just gave somebody like $4 million? I think. Oh, Squid Games.
Yep. So they got to beat
they paid
that.
It out yet, but yeah, they got to beat the Squid Games.
So they're still playing.
With inflation, that's about $1 million. So
yeah. Right. And then they'll take California. I was going to say, then they'll take their cut taxes, and you're lucky if you can, buy a 12-pack of Coke.
That's the new thing, though. When they read the votes overseas, I think they're taxed twice. They're taxed like they would be in Fiji, and then they're also taxed internationally. So it's like,
we got to find that out.
Yeah. So I heard that they didn't do that because when you read the votes and you say this person's the winner, that's technically I don't know, payment. I don't know. That's what I heard. So they weren't reading them. That's why they always brought it back to America, because of these international tax implications.
That's
Um,
crazy.
isn't that
I had
interesting?
no idea. We got to look into that. All right, I want to move on really quick. We're excited to see. Did you have anybody have anything else on Rob, Boston Rob? No. Okay, we can move on. We've got a few minutes. We got about 15 minutes left. Let's play a game. I'm excited for this. This should be fun. I hope you're ready to go. If I'm ready to go, let me see if I can get this put on here
Is
the
that a
right
full focus
way.
planner?
Oh,
No,
you're
it's
all
just an
set.
Nova.
Oh my gosh. You're way ahead of me. I don't even have
I'm
paper.
getting excited.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. So this was posted in the Travis Spoken. It is from Reddit, and I made my own little version of it just to make it a little easier to read, and came out looking even harder to read. So there you go. If you were going to charge of a season of Survivor and have $20 to build your dream season, what do you pick? We are going to go around the room, and it's draft style. If it gets picked, it's off the board. No, I don't. I'm just going to write them down. You're going to have to remember what's been picked and what's not.
I can do that.
Alex, you're going first. What are you picking?
Well, let me go over the categories here just for all of our listeners.
Yes,
so
please.
we have $5 category. Okay. For $5, you can buy 39 days, an intro, a new location, or 90-minute episodes. And you got a $20 total budget. Okay. For $4, you can buy individual FTC. What does that mean?
Final Tribal Council. Or no, Final Tribal Council questions.
Okay.
So that everybody gets to ask a question at the end.
Yeah, I like that. Okay. Other options in the $4 category: less idle advantages, no Final Four fire. Final 2 is an option. For $3, you can buy a normal merge, the auction, the live reunion, and votes, or 2 tribes. For $2, you can do a tribe swap, a family visit, touchy subjects, or Ponderosa videos. And for $1, you can buy rites of passage, theme seasons. Cast includes recruits. What does that mean? Cast includes recruits.
I don't know.
It's probably back in the day where they used to recruit people instead of take people who actually want to be on the show.
And better rewards. Okay, so I have $20 here. I'm gonna choose.
Now remember, are we doing it the way that if you pick something that that's off my
first
list?
Pick. This is we're draft style in it. So first pick.
And that means that if you don't go with final 2, that automatically means your season is final 3, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm ready.
So $5 on 39 days. I don't like the short season. I want the extended. I want them to hurt out there, survive, right? Yep. And I'm also going to do $5 in the 90-minute category because I do like the 90-minute episodes. I do like the extended.
You only pick one.
You
only pick one per.
Yeah. Well,
you can only pick. We're going around the room. You can spend your money any way you want, but we only get one pick at a time.
And
okay. I pick.
And if we do the snake draft, that means your pick. If you're first, you're not going to pick again until 6th.
We're not. I can't snake draft it. We're just going to keep that's too much. My brain can't do that. Come on, Brandon.
Okay. $5, 39 days.
39
Is it Brandon up next?
Yep, Brandon, you're up next.
You took 39 days. I'm glad you took that one. That was. I think I get just as much Survivor watching 25 because I have no clue how long they're out there. But the one thing that does make a difference for me as a viewer is I want more Survivor. I don't care if they get more Survivor. I want more Survivor. I'm picking 90-minute episodes.
All
right. You're leaving me with the lower one. So
you can pick a $1 one right now. That's fine.
I know. That's what I'm thinking. I might just go. I drafted Mahomes early. So no one was picking quarterbacks because I knew what I wanted and I wasn't going to let that go out of my way. So I don't know. I think I'm going to spend $4 and I'm going to go with individual final tribal council questions because I want to see everybody up there. So that's my pick to start with.
Okay.
Alex, back to you.
I'm just regretting my decision now because I need that too. Okay. This is the easy one then. We talked about it earlier in the episode. $3 on live reunion and votes. Gotta have that.
Okay, so you did live reunion and vote. Okay. That was number 6 for me because I did put a lot of time and energy into this. My house is still a mess because of this contest we're doing right now. I decided that my next important thing has to be the change of location. We need to get off Fiji. And I think we should have done what season 41 should have done, and their biggest mistake, and it would rank in one of the best seasons if they did this, bring it back to Borneo as a new season. Start back all the way. So I'm choosing new place, and it's going to be Borneo.
You know,
All
I've
right.
watched like some of the old seasons, like in China and stuff, and there is something that's just missing when they're not on the beach and, you know, it's bright and sunny. There is, but I agree. They do Fiji a little overplayed. Let's get out.
Agree.
Yep.
You guys are going to be so mad at me for this one.
Oh, no, stop. No, do not.
I'm taking auction.
Okay. Okay.
I love the auction. I love that they brought it back. I had to have that one. I'm like, I don't care about a normal merge. I mean, whatever, 2 tribes, 3 tribes. I'm even like, I'm fine with that. I gotta have my auction.
Can I buy your auction off you for $7?
No, you cannot. Alex, you have $8. You spent $8. Brandon, you've spent $10. Yeah. I have spent $7. Alex, it is on to you.
It's frugal.
Okay. Yeah.
$10. You got $12 left.
$12.
I know how much you love that intro. I know how much you love a good Survivor intro, Alex.
Thank you, Brandon. Yes. Actually, I'm going to spend my $5 on my intro. It literally gives me goosebumps every single time the Survivor music comes on. You hear the hoi, hoi, you know, boo. We always go, booga.
I love it.
Yeah. Love the intros. Love the Survivor sound effects. They're the best sound effects, best TV intro of all time, I would say. Absolutely.
So, Bree, instead of whatever music we have for our Spill the Immunity intro, can we just let Alex be?
Yeah, he's gonna sing. He's gonna do this. Yeah, it's gonna be like Frasier. He's gonna have his own like intro thing. He'll sing it himself. Absolutely, yep. I'm in for that.
Awesome.
All right, your pick, Brandon.
Yep. I'm glad you did that because I was lingering between the two, so I need you to pick the intro, Alex. I am going, and you picked Family Visits, right, Bree? That's gone.
No, I did not pick Family Visits.
Oh my gosh, that's the only time that I tear up. I tear up at those times. But I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put in my episode, and since it's only 26 days, because now I'm stuck with 26 days because of Alex. It's gonna be Australia Survivor style, where they bring back the family on the last boats, so they have somebody to party with when they win the game. So.
I'm kind of pissed at you, Brandon, because I was going to pick that next. Because I really love the family visits too. I think it's really, really important. I can't. It pisses me off when they don't have them.
Brandon played me. Brandon, you just survived me, man.
Let's do this, baby.
He faked me out.
Let's do this.
He did.
Yes, I'm ready.
Yeah. I am gonna go off again in my own little world. I'm gonna spend a whole whopping $1, and I am gonna pick better rewards. Oh my gosh, I don't ever want to go back to the sanctuary.
Thank you. Yeah. Good things happen there.
Perfect timing for that train.
Yeah, bring the train. You get to ride the train.
Alex, you have $7 left. Brandon, you have $8 left, and I have 11.
Okay.
No, I have 12. Wow.
Yeah. You're going to get the immunity idol advantage.
Does touchy subjects mean like their backstory, or does that mean like, you know, when they said, can Jeff really say, come on in, guys? Is that what we're talking about for the touchy? Or are we talking about like the heart-wrenching stories of, you know, Jake eating too much in his car, right? Or what do you think the touchy subjects means?
That's a good question.
How would you, I think you get a pick. I think you get to decide if you own that.
Well, I'm going to say the touchy subjects are their intimate backstory that, you know, says who they are and where they're from and why they're on Survivor and what they're going through. We talked about that on season 45. It's hard to like people who maybe have some rough edges until you learn their backstory and you understand why they are the way that they are. And then it gives a reason to the behavior and you can understand them a little bit more and maybe are a little bit more accepted. So I like that backstory. And like I said, I like the underdog story too. So anytime we can get a underdog, I was a nerd and everybody, and now I'm on Survivor and I'm just learning so much about myself. I love that.
Love it.
All right, Brandon, you're up.
It's too bad that your episodes are only an hour long, though, Alex.
rushing through those stories.
I love it.
So I am going to. That was a good pick. I'm going to stay in the $3 category right now.
Don't you do it.
I'm taking it. I'm taking it. Oh, let's see if we're thinking the same way. I need my 2 tribes back.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. I need people hiding behind other people. I need stories. I need people to not be in a group of 6 and just look at the tribe and be like, oh, we just need 4 people. We're good to go for 2 rounds. I need deception. I need my 10 on 10 or 8 on 8. I need that. So sorry, Bree.
Oh man.
It's a good pick.
That was what I was like. I've been asking for 2 tribes I can't stand these 3 tribes, 6 people. I want to see people having to be like really work the vote, right? And I love all that. So you got me on that one.
Yes. Good. I know.
Do we have a final 2? Did anybody pick that yet? I don't see it.
No.
So I'm gonna pick final 2. I think it's way better.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of the final 2.
I love the final 2.
What are you a fan of the final 2, Brandon?
You know what? I think one of the best tribal councils was when the 3rd player had to pick between Wendell and Dom, and you can't do that unless you have a final 3. So I'm a final 3 fan.
I don't like that the 3rd person never gets votes. Carolyn didn't get votes. Jake didn't get votes. Like, why are you there? I want you to battle it out, the 2 of you in the end, make it a little bit tougher. And you know what that does? It knocks out that no final 4. Don't need to waste my money on it because you ain't going to have it. Not in my game.
Not in my game.
I like the final 3 because it seems like the final 2, it's usually like a really, really strong player with a dud. So there's no suspense sometimes, right? Mm-hmm. So that's why I don't really like the final 2 all the time.
So and I'm wondering also, like, in those no vote 3rd place people, would that have been the second, like the Tony or I'm trying to think. So would Carolyn have been the automatic 2nd, and she gets no votes anyways? What would that look like? And I think we were 3 that you actually have a little bit more chance to not have that 2 duds at the end. Wow. I mean, I think didn't Boston Rob do that in Redemption Island? Didn't he? Was that a 3-person season or not? I guess it wasn't. Ben was the last one, or Ben was the first one. Anyways, but I think I like 3. I like 2 too. That doesn't bother me too much.
All right.
How many dollars do I got?
You got $5 left, Brandon. You have $5 left. I have $8 left.
Okay, so all of our $5 options, I think, are out.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, I do like the twist. I'll say I don't like the selective tribe swaps that they do. You know, I don't know. I do because there's always exceptions, right? For every season, it plays into my favor, so I do like it. Man, hard. We're really getting filled up here too, so I'll do that. I'll do normal. Well, I guess it's tribe swap, so it's not a normal tribe swap. It's just tribe swap. So I guess I'll do that. Not my favorite. We don't got a lot of great ones left, and I think they already do Ponderosa videos too. So I don't need to do that. That one's a given. So I'll do tribe swap, but I'd like the tribe swap to be with the 2 tribes, not the 3 tribes.
Well, Brandon's got the 2 tribes, so you got it with 3. It might be, it might be a Lulu thing where like there's no one left, or it's a desecrated one,
right?
And then they have to go to 2 or whatever it is. So yeah,
that's what always happens with the 3 tribes. It's like one of them does really, really bad, and then the other 2 tribes. And so yeah,
it's
I'm more of a fan of the 2 tribes.
Yeah.
All right, Brandon, your turn. You're up. You got $5 to spend. What are you buying?
Well, and here's the thing. There's one that I'll be happy with, but the fact that you guys hated it doesn't. I can't tick you guys off any more than I already have, and I want to tick you off more by having a great pick. So I would say it would have been rites of passage, but you guys don't even like that, so whatever.
I don't even know what that is.
That's when at the end of the game, when it was like the last 3 players remaining, they would walk.
Oh,
They make a journey and remember all the past players and say a little something about each one and then toss all their crap in the fire.
yeah.
Which Bree, as you can hear by her voice, loves it.
Yes, it's so great.
So I'm going to give you guys the medallion of power, and I'm going to give you guys, make sure that there is a bird cage out there with a key in it. I'm going to give you all the advantages that you'll have to have in your season so that my season can have less idols and less advantages.
You can have it. That's good.
Yeah, it's gotten a little bit ridiculous at this point, right? Like we said this with the Drews safety. It's like you're going to be safe when the moon is full and 7 players are left and there's 5 votes on one person and 2 votes on. It's like what type of advantage is this, right? Jeff's just pulling them out of nowhere.
But you can't get it until you take all the wax off the idol. So, right.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you have to marinate the idol in coconut palms, and then a box will open up and you can take the key out and that will unlock a rock. And
that's going to take all 60 minutes of your episode if that happens, man. So
I know. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to take themed seasons. Oh. I love forcing production to be creative. And don't just give me a number. Come on, Survivor. I like the theme seasons. I want to hear heroes versus, villains or whatever it is, or fans versus favorites, or, I don't care what it is. Favorites, the Cowboys versus
heroes,
the
heroes
Lions.
Versus hustlers versus. Yeah.
Think outside the box, be creative. They're putting all this energy into stuff. You guys step up your game production. I want to see a little bit more in there. So I'm taking theme seasons. I have so much money left to spend, but I'll clean up all the clutter that you guys don't take.
Perfect.
So Bree, you like the theme seasons more than like the one of every kind type of thing where it's like, we got one nerd, we got one jock, we got one,
That's still a theme. Yeah. I just want to have, don't say Survivor 45 or 46. I don't want just a number on it. Now it's like you're labeling episodes. I don't like that stuff. SEO, give me something that's going to help me with something more than just a number of, because it feels like you're just tired.
Yeah.
You're tired. You're like, oh God, another season. What are we going to call it? I don't know, 46.
Like once you have your 12th kid, you just name it 12. Like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
So I can't deal with that. All right, Alex, you have $3. Brandon, you have $1. And I have more than enough. I don't know, 6 or 7 left.
Okay. I'm gonna
one more pick each and we're done.
Okay.
This is your last pick.
This is very controversial, guys, but I'm gonna do the rites of passage. I kind of like the rites of passage where they go and they talk a little bit of junk about everybody, because sometimes they have some funny little quips there, and it is one of the more cinematic moments on Survivor.
Yeah,
they always make it super cinematic, and it's kind of this reflection. I don't think it has as much effect when you watch it like recorded and you watch all the seasons marathon, but when you watch it on TV, you kind of it's kind of a recollection or a nostalgia of what you just got to watch, right? And all the people who were voted out. So I did in the past. I did like the rites of passage.
You get to see Brandon climbing that ladder again. Like
yeah. No, that's true. They always in the rites of passage, they would always do like one clip of them like doing something and then one clip of them failing horribly, like their worst moment. So that would be funny.
Yeah. Oh man, well that was a good pick because that was going to be my $1 pick because I only have the buck left, and so now you're forcing me. You both are forcing me with the last $1 one, and that is the cast includes recruits. So that means I have to include at least one recruit. I'll choose you guys to be on here. So I love my season. I'm just going to summarize it real quick before your pick, Bree. You're doing a pick first. We can summarize.
I was going to summarize at the end. I got one more pick left. I can buy anything that's left.
Yeah.
And I don't know really what I want, but I'm going to take Ponderosa videos. I love these. They don't really show them as much. They're not as much of a thing anymore. We don't really see much. And I was watching the Ponderosa videos from Australia when Nina was on it, and they were so much fun because you get to see them out of game mode, but still fresh from the game. And I want to see what it's like when they get out of there and they eat that first big meal and they get that shower and they're like, oh, I think that's really, it's fun for me. I feel more included in the whole thing when I get to see that. We love the behind the scenes stuff. As creators, we know that that's important to our audience. They love to see behind the curtain, behind the scenes, what happened after they left. Kind of, I got to have it. That's my final. So we can definitely go. Brandon, you want to summarize everybody? If you wrote them all down, go right ahead.
Oh, I did not write all everybody's. I crossed your guys off. So Alex, since you were the first pick, you want to summarize season 46?
Sure. I'll have to go from memory, but I did 39 days.
Yep.
We did the normal merge. We did the live reunion.
You have an intro.
We did the intro. Yep. We did the tribe swap. We did the touchy subjects and the rites of passage.
Yeah. It's a good traditional season right there.
I'm a traditionalist when it comes to Survivor.
Yeah.
I mean, not like season 1 through 15, more of like 15 through 35, 40. Yeah. Those are my seasons. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd watch that.
Thanks.
I have, I'm at 90 minutes. So you get your 90 minutes in. And we are in Borneo. We have less idols at play, so it's actually a new season, but old school feel with a longer season. We have 2 tribes, which is great. We're doing the family visits towards the end of the season, so you get the live reunion with your parents and your castaways there. And I'm including Alex and Bree on my season. So there it is.
I love it. I love it.
Best season
yet. In a crazy twist of fate, I have an advantage here that lets me steal one of your. No, I'm kidding. All right,
you can have the recruits.
I would love it. I'm going to take those family visits back. I have individual final tribal council questions. I got to have that. I want to see everyone's attitude. Don't keep Bruce out of the mix. I want to see what he has to say. How could you do that? What's going on?
Yeah.
I got to have the auction. I thought this season, bringing it back the way they did it was brilliant. I loved it. I really want to see. I loved it when they would bring the bathtub out and be like, "Here's like you get to like take a bath during this whole." I don't know. I thought that was cool. I like the rewards. I want to change rewards. I want more rewards and better locations. I want to go back to we went to this village and we brought toys to the kids and we got to like experience what it was like in that village or that town or whatever. I want that. I love those. Final 2, y'all didn't want it. I like it still. I definitely think that's cool. Themed seasons, come on, production. And I'm bringing back the Ponderosa video. So I think, you guys might have like gotten all the good ones for me and I'm okay with that. But I have a good time with it. I hope that everybody had a good time with it. We want to know what you guys think. What would you pick? Put in the comments. Yeah. What would you build your own season? You don't have to compete against us. You get your own. You can pick whatever you want. Spend your $20. We want to hear from you and we'll feature it next week on the show maybe. And so that'd be a lot of fun. Last words. We are out of here. We are late. We are over time, but man, that was a good time. Thank you guys.
No problem.
Yeah,
thank you. Love this.
Thanks. All right, we're going to be back next week. We're going to start talking. I'm hoping we have a lot of players to talk about because they are dripping that stuff out real slow for us. But we have a few Australia players that we want to talk about next week, as well as maybe diving into what the U.S. season 46, big name there, will be for this upcoming season in February. So we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for joining us. Bye.